I'm here with a heavy heart to officially announce to you the untimely and painful demise of Honorable Atim Hon.Cecilia Babrah, the district woman member of parliament of Dokolo, which occurred this morning in India, where she had been evacuated for a specialized medical care. She has mentored most of us in Parliament. It is with a pity that she has passed on. We condone with the family and the people of Lango and all the people of Uganda. Some of us, the young ladies, joined the Parliament because we used to admire Hon.Ceciliaogwal, the way she was articulate, the way she would discuss issues concerning this country. We have really lost a role model in this country.
Imemban luipu koto mairabet na ko Uganda ngesa pulai tururo bala sebe atwa kiasi kesi amuchalat na repir na inyabuka umisho koto mairabet. Judith Pisachan negwe kinita ngorno district aloko nuoya koto mairabet ngesa bala bonbe Ceciliaogwal ngesa rai toto ne rabak luipu lueje asito mairabet.
We condone with the family. As members of parliament, we've got a lot to do to catch up and reach where she had been.
Winichiza nakola goikit luitepigdosa pugan kere koto mairabet ngesa balabonbe Ceciliaogwal ngesa ra nyunet na kronika mnara kede rabneja situnga lipu koto mo Uganda.
We mourn Cecilia, but at the same time we celebrate her because hers was a life well lived. We can't talk about democracy. We can't talk about democracy in this country without talking about Cecilia. You said it at the beginning that Cecilia was a secretary general of a political party. So at some point, whenever she would speak to those in government, she would tell them and say, I'm speaking from experience. We were in government. You need to listen to the opposition. Some of us were taken out of government because we could not listen to the opposition. And she would tell those of us in opposition and say, you better be careful. There are things you can talk when you are in opposition and they catch up with you when you get into government. So we had this wealth of experience from this woman. And it is so sad that really she gets to leave the country at a time when we needed her most.
Ogwal was a devout Christian who always put God first. In whatever she did, she would always say, let's have prayers. And that was Honorable Ceciliaogwal. She was a distinguished legislator with a very strong national look and a remarkable public figure. She was an inspiration to all of us, the young politicians. And she always advocated for a fair and just society that works for everybody.
One of her best attributes was the fact that she was able to cut across the political divide. And the fact that she spoke her mind without having any ill will or intentions. She meant whatever she said, and she said whatever she meant. And the fact that she spoke her mind without having any ill will or intentions. She meant whatever she said, and she said whatever she meant.
We'll miss her candidness, her straightforward character, and her commitment, very committed. I see so many young MPs failing to attend Parliament, missing Parliament, failing to attend to basic business of Parliament. But an old lady like she was, who has been attending Parliament very regularly, so she leaves a legacy worth emulating by those who want to join politics in terms of serving country above itself.
Cecilia has held each one of us in Parliament. Every time we came at a standstill, we all looked onto the voice of Cecilia. What is Mama going to say? Mama was a team builder. She was a peacemaker.
Whenever there was anything starting when she was a commissioner and even just a member, all of us would look upon him. Even when she meant meeting the president, we would know that when Emat is there, everything would be okay. So Emat was so articulate, developmental oriented, in that her voice was loud enough to speak for all of us.
And as Parliament, will take charge of everything. We'll take charge of everything from here, Dokolo, Lira, Kole, until we see our mother being given a decent send-off.
The mood at the residence of Dokolo woman member of parliament Atim Ogwal in Bugolobi, Kampala, was somber after it was confirmed that she had passed on. Cecilia Ogwal, loved by her peers and young politicians and who many refer to as Mama, passed on in India aged 77. Her death is linked to cancer.
Actually, today is a very, very sad moment. It's really a shock to the people of Lango sub-region because in Honorable Emat, we had a pillar. In Honorable Emat, we had a role model.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, and former leaders of opposition in Parliament, Matthias Impuga, Betty Aol Ochan, and Winnie Kiza arrived at the Ogwal family home to condole with the family. Mrs. Ogwal, one of the longest-serving parliamentarians who cut her teeth in politics in the 80s, when she was appointed the Acting Secretary General of Uganda People's Congress UPC, is hailed for having spurred women into politics.
Hon.Cecilia Ogwal would always tell you, never allow to be undermined because you're a woman. You should always be on top of everybody. Some of us were motivated to join politics because of Hon.Cecilia Ogwal.
You can't talk about women, the women's movement, women emancipation, women empowerment without talking about Cecilia Ogwal, because it's people like Cecilia that stood firm on their feet and ensured that women were catered for in the Constitution.
She has been a nationalist who always fronted the country's interests first above any other political affiliations. Cecilia Ogwal was also a businesswoman and an advocate of women's rights.
She is described as an incorruptible and unifying person who served in politics.
This is somebody who, over the years, would put government on the spot. She would insist on government accounting to not just Parliament, but to the people of Uganda, as it should be, anyway. And so she got that coining of the name Iron Lady.
Herself and the late Honorable Chanjo were the few seniors who had time for the juniors. Many senior MPs never give time to others, but she was always available to help, to support, to advise.
I must say has mentored many, including myself, because as Chief Opposition Whip, she has been a predecessor, my predecessor, because she was earlier, I think, even served 2 terms.
When it was even very difficult to say you are opposed to Museveni, Cecilia Ogwal was one of the few people who stood up against Museveni. They were being called multi-partists. So she was a torchbearer for many opposition politicians.
Though she started out as an avid supporter of UPC, by the time she passed on, she was member of the Forum for Democratic Change Party.
She has made a very strong mark nationally. She's been a strong leader in the Lango region, where she hails from. And so it's a terrible loss.
I used to give her my car myself, despite us having different positions or political affiliations. She was a person who understood the fact that being one of a different ideological setting does not make you less human.
Besides politics, Mrs. Ogwal was a businesswoman.
She was an entrepreneur by herself, where she had in Lira Millers and do a lot of things into value addition. So she was very admired to see that there are also other women who are having the same kind of ideas, that they can also do the form of business and investment.
She is survived by husband Lamek Ogwal, with whom she had 7 children.
But thanks be to God, I didn't utter a word in response.